Hey everybody.
Oh, wait.
Action. NICU journey. We always do the videos when we're all smiling, happy, even after there's been tears for days. But the takeaway from this video should be that this whole journey for a mom walking away, which it's harder for me to understand as a man, goes against.
Yeah, so the NICU goes against all maternal instinct, or most. I wouldn't necessarily say all, because the best health of your child is also instinctual to fight for their health. So we get put in the situation that we do not plan to be in, and there's moments where you're not allowed to hold your child. There's moments where you're not allowed to feed your child. There's moments, I mean, some women don't even, or families don't even have the opportunity to be around their child for the very beginning because they're still trying to recover. So there's a lot of these things that and then they're like, you need to pump, you need to do all these things. And I mean, pumping doesn't feel natural. And what you want and what your body and soul and mind all crave is to have your baby. And so we all know there's a purpose for a NICU. It's because something is off, something is not quite right for our baby. We need help. And so you have to take our maternal instincts and we have to understand that we have to create this balance, but don't lose them, because when you forfeit those, you start to forfeit your need and push to advocate, your need and push to be involved. It's easier to just say okay instead of asking all those questions and having that deep need to be extremely involved and educated in what's happening so that you can ask those questions and push where you need to push.
So what we think we've learned is to combat that departure from motherly instinct is to lay down some groundwork with your crew, your team, and let them know, hey, this is a team effort. We want to be informed of decisions. We want to know the why behind treatments. We want to know the risk versus benefits. If you tell me we have to feed at these times, you should ask, well, what's the benefit of feeding only at these times versus the risk of not letting her feed when she naturally feels like she should feed, or taking cues from the baby? And make sure that they understand from the very beginning. And the very beginning might not be able because you're tired, foggy, shocked at what maybe got you to the NICU, but it's never too late to say, hey, we've been here for a week and I really feel like I need to have this hard conversation with you. Don't have to say hard conversation, but I need to talk about, we want this to be a team effort. Can you explain why you've done these three things?
But also in a very much, I want to be on the team because this is my team. And you can say, I'm here to ask questions so we can have these conversations, not an aggressive push of saying, I don't think so, I believe this. And there might come a time where you have built up enough knowledge where you can very strongly stand up, but in the very beginning you want them to know that you are as much an equal member of that team as their entire staff is. You basically become a part of the staff specifically for your child in their eyes. And so you're the one that will know if your baby's poop changes, that knows your baby's cues, and your nurses, if you have primary nurses, which you can typically select, they will start to know your baby as well, but never as good as you do. So
with that, the primary nurses, that turned out to be a huge help for us. We're, not quite 40 days in. We learned after, a week and a half, that you could select, and maybe your hospital does, maybe they don't, but you could suggest it. Hey, can we have this? The nurses that click with you best and seem to resonate with your vibe, or whatever best, and then they will select those for you more often, and you get a way better continuity of care that way. You can also select let's please not have them again list. Nothing disrespectful, they just maybe didn't quite click with you and your baby as well. And
you want to make sure you build a team of people that understand your communication style. And also be upfront with telling them. I'm a very honest person, and so I looked at some of my nurses and stated that we're different. We push against the norm because we ask questions, and if it doesn't make sense, we're going to push. We won't just say, okay, because this is the way we've always done it. And they knew that from the very beginning, and I think they've extended us a lot of grace during some of this journey.
So, some of the things to help, again, combat with that departure from motherly instincts, so you can feel like you've got the right amount of control and the right amount of participation for the medicine that you need. One of the things that we've found, and from way back all the way to now into this journey, way back as in previous medical encounters, is that when you hold them accountable by asking the questions, one thing we try to do is pop in and show that we'll be present at any given time. Not because we don't trust them, but it does help elevate that, keeping you on your game. If you're in the position to know that your customer might be just checking in, if the boss is checking in type of thing. And it gives us a little security, whether it works or not. If it works for you, that's great. Another thing is getting a second opinion. So we recently had a discussion about whether we should fortify the milk or add in formula or just continue to do breast milk, because we got lucky and after a period of time our son latched. And so one doctor is like, no, you need to add formula. The other doctor said, I don't know if this is a decision for me. Let's wait for your primary. And then tomorrow we get to talk to our primary. We asked a handful of nurses, and we have varying opinions. And that's a wonderful thing that we ask for a second and third and fourth opinion, so that we, as the biggest advocate for our baby, can take all of those bits and pieces and then say, we really want to do this. And we understand all these different whys. And that's in addition to doing research online. When we do push back, always push back respectfully. We're doing this video for a lot of reasons, but one of them was we overheard today this dad who sounded like, we didn't hear all the story, sounded like he was pushing for breast milk because his wife was trying to pump. And the nursing staff was pushing for formula. There's definitely a place for formula. But it just, from our angle, sounded like they were pushing something he didn't want.
And because it was, so it's not necessarily a bad thing, but hospitals tend to streamline things. They try and find the easiest way to make everything function, and these nurses are handling more than one baby at a time. So in this sense, it sounds like it's just easier to just give breast milk to give formula instead of waiting for the breast milk or whatever it may be. And so their norm is, oh, well, if it's not ready, breast or formula. And sometimes, not at a fault of theirs, they might forget to listen.
Because they're so used to doing things a certain way.
Yeah.
And everyone's guilty of that. And the other thing is, within medicine, and I've been in the medical field for a long time too, there's certain things that you look at entire population and you see this statistically works for most people. So then that's your box. And the box is formula until this weight. But if my wife notices that he's breastfeeding earlier than expected and more than expected, well, maybe he doesn't fit in that box. And that's why we have to talk as a team. And so we should respectfully challenge the box that they're working in, because our kid might be different. We recently met a parent at a mutual friend's birthday party, kid's birthday party, who most people agree with vaccines, some people don't, and that's fine. She was neither, but she had her kid vaccinated, and that kid got a terrible, terrible reaction, was in the ICU, and the doctor told her, your kid should never get vaccinated again. Fast forward 5 years when she's a little older, and there's a miscommunication, and they kind of push as if things are better. Second kid gets vaccinated, same thing in the ICU. And this was one of those, didn't fit in the box. We should always recognize that and question and challenge to make sure that our kid's not the one ending up getting a mistreatment because of the normal treatment. So,
yeah, and it's really scary when you first find out that you have a baby in the NICU, and you go in there and your baby has all kinds of wires and things hooked up, and they don't look like a bouncing new baby, like the beautiful image of it. They don't look like that. And so it's very intimidating and very, very scary. And so it's a lot to take in and process. So if you feel like you're not advocating for yourself right away, that's normal. but just know that that is the way you're advocating. So taking in everything, every beep of the monitor, asking questions. Why is it beeping? Where should we be? What are the parameters here? Sometimes that advocating for your child is taking it all in first. So you don't necessarily have to be super loud in the very beginning and ask, and like push certain ideas until you have collected all of your knowledge, because it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And you don't know how to do it yet.
Yeah.
It's scary.
So I think the takeaway is we know this is different, not the same way mom wants to always do it. We appreciate everything the nurses do and we trust them, but we are a team and we should also ask questions and push back if we feel like it's necessary.
And your motherly instincts that we started off talking about, that you'll feel it. You'll know when it's time to say no to whatever's happening. You'll know when it's time to stand up strong for whatever's happening, because you, above everything, you've got to trust your motherly instinct and your gut, because only you know your baby and your family the way that you do. So don't be afraid to be bold, and don't feel like you should turn that instinct off.
Yeah.
The end.
Hope it helps. Later.
No! Titsman Tribe.
We always try to remind everybody from the Titsman Tribe to do good, be good, and share.
Over.